I've spent a lot of time on a mountain, alone, watching how people operate from a comfortable distance. And here's what I've noticed. The people who get manipulated most, they're not naive. They're not weak. They're usually the most thoughtful people in the room. The ones who question themselves before they question anyone else. The ones who give everyone the benefit of the doubt. And that quality, which is genuinely good, is exactly what makes them a target. The manipulation I'm talking about isn't dramatic. There's no villain speech, no obvious lie you can screenshot and show your friends. It happens in conversations so ordinary, so routine, that most people never think to examine them. If any part of that sounds familiar, this might be the most useful 7 minutes of your week. Here are 7 signs someone is slowly manipulating you, and you don't even know it.
Before we get into the list, I want to be precise about something. Manipulation isn't always conscious. The most dangerous kind usually isn't. Most people who eventually untangle it say the same thing. The signs were there from the beginning. They just didn't know what they were looking at. Now, you will.
They answer questions with questions. Not because they're curious. Because deflection is a survival skill for people who can't afford direct answers. You ask, "Did you actually tell them what I said?" They respond, "Why would you even think that?" Notice what just happened. Your question disappeared. And now you're defending yourself for asking it. A person with nothing to hide answers. A person who's hiding something redirects. And they're good at making the redirect feel like your fault.
They make you feel lucky to have them, not through kindness, through scarcity. Subtle reminders of how rare this connection is, how no one else really gets them, how hard they are to deal with for most people, but not for you. What's actually happening? They're raising their own value by quietly lowering yours. The relationship never feels equal. It feels like you're one mistake away from losing something irreplaceable. Irreplaceable people don't need to remind you how irreplaceable they are. This is the one that'll make you question yourself if you don't recognize it early. Something happened. You remember it clearly. They describe it back to you. Same event, completely different version. With total, calm certainty. No anger. No accusation. Just quiet confidence that you misremembered. Think about what that does to a person over time. You start trusting your own account of things. You start checking with them before trusting yourself. You begin to wonder if your perception is the problem. It's not. But by the time you're asking, the damage is already underway. That's the goal. Genuine compliments don't come with a bill. But there's a specific kind that's actually a cage. You're so calm, you never get upset. Now you can't get upset without proving them right. You're the bigger person, I know you'll understand. Now you have to understand, or become small. Watch for compliments that define you as someone who accepts less. They're not praising you. They're pre-negotiating your behavior. Track your apology patterns in a specific relationship. If you regularly end conversations by apologizing, and you can't quite reconstruct how you got there, that's information. Skilled manipulation doesn't make you angry. It makes you sorry. Because if you're sorry, you're not asking questions. You're too busy managing your own guilt to notice what actually happened. The fastest way to silence someone who's starting to figure you out is to make them feel like they're the problem.
This one is elegant from a purely behavioral standpoint. Dark, but elegant. Every time something goes wrong in their life, there's a quiet path that leads back to you. Not outright accusation, just a sigh, a pause, no, it's fine. You end up managing emotions about things you didn't do, and eventually you start preemptively managing them. You change your behavior to prevent their reactions before they even happen. That's not love. That's conditioning. Your nervous system is not confused. It's tracking something your conscious mind is still trying to explain away. Genuine connection, even difficult conversation, leaves you with something. Clarity, closeness, resolution. Chronic manipulation leaves you depleted. Not because anything dramatic happened, because the entire interaction was invisible work. Quiet, unrelenting work your brain was doing to keep you safe in a situation you haven't named yet. If someone consistently leaves you more tired than when you arrived, that is not nothing. That is data.
Here's the part I want you to sit with. Whether or not someone is doing this intentionally, the effect on you is the same. You don't owe anyone access to your attention, your energy, or your self-doubt. That's not cynicism. That's a boundary you're allowed to have. And here's what I've learned from watching quietly from a distance. The moment you can name a pattern, it loses power. Not all of it, but enough. Enough to stop managing someone else's reality and start trusting your own. So, look for the patterns. Trust your nervous system. And stop apologizing for noticing.
If one of these 7 landed, if something clicked, drop "aware" in the comments. Not for the algorithm, just because sometimes it helps to say, "I see it now." Subscribe or don't. I respect your autonomy either way. But if you do, I'll be back next week with more observations from the mountain.